Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Beliefcast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester, your host of the Beliefcast today. As always, thanks for tuning in. So grateful for all of you. You guys are amazing, and we are cranking right now, to be quite honest with you, because of you guys and because of these amazing people I bring on the show. So thank you so much for sharing this with your family and your loved ones. It really does mean the world to me. Today on the Beliefcast, I sit down with Dee Noyes, a mother, a grandmother, newlywed, a woman in long-term recovery whose life is living proof that transformation is possible. After losing everything, her marriage, her home, custody of her children, and even herself, Dee found hope in the most unlikely place. Through 72 days at a residential treatment center, Wasatch Recovery, sober living, and relentless inner work, she didn't just get clean and sober, she rediscovered who she truly is. This conversation is about identity, healing, people-pleasing, trauma, addiction, and the courage it takes to finally choose yourself. So guys, we are in for a treat. I've known Dee for a long time. We've worked together. I got to be one of her coaches while she was here going through treatment, and I've been there since the beginning until now, and you really are a walking miracle.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm a little awestruck. I sat on this couch about 2.5 years ago, very broken, and it was life-changing. And I met Todd, and never in a million years would I have thought that I'd be sitting here again, giving hope to other people. And I'm so excited to be here and tell my story.
You know, it reminds me of this statement. The very thing that was trying to destroy you was actually trying to save you for this moment.
So true.
Right?
So true.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like my addiction, if
Yeah.
I wouldn't have went through all of the trials in my life I've been through, I would not be here today. And it really is like I've been dreaming about this day. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah.
Like the day you asked me, I was telling everyone, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to go on Todd's podcast. I'm just so excited to be here. And Todd is one of my heroes. And so sitting here with him, I feel like I'm like sitting next to a celebrity, and I love him so much. And this couch sitting here in this spot, I got information that changed my life.
Wow.
And it really was right here that my recovery journey really took a turn for the best, and I remembered who I was. And Todd, thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome in the sense that I appreciate those kind words, but you know, at the end of the day, I shared with you with what I was shared with when I was in the same position you were in, and so we all need each other. We're all standing on shoulders of giants. And you really are one of those now that people are now standing your shoulders because you're helping them along the way. You know, we've already been crying. We haven't even started, and we're crying.
I know.
Because there's just so much love here, and just it's so cool to watch people go through hell and get out on the other side and then have this desire to make a difference in other people's lives. I think that's why we go through it, is for that very reason. So there's so much to talk about. Why don't we start off just so people can get to know you a little bit. Tell us kind of where you were from, where you grew up, and maybe a little bit about your family.
I have the best family. I grew up in Price, Carbon County. I actually lived in Carbon County my whole life until I came to treatment. So I'm from a very small town. Yeah. But my family is great. I grew up in a home with a lot of love. I have 5 brothers and 1 sister. I have a million cousins, and I've got lots of aunts and uncles and grandparents, and we all live in this small town. And my life has always just been full of love. I grew up in the LDS church. I had a church family. I did marching band in high school. I had a marching band family. I did drill team in high school. I had seminary. I just have been surrounded by so many loving people. My family, we didn't have a ton of money. But we always had hobbies. My parents always paid for dance. I had a horse and I had a dirt bike. I had a dad that loved to play. I had a mom that cooked us dinner and
Nice.
and created made our house a home. I always felt supported. I never remember feeling fear in my childhood, not actual fear. I just knew that I had everything that I needed and that my parents would take care of me.
Yeah. Well, I've met a lot of your family, and they are great people.
They are amazing.
And your husband, Cameron, who's
Yes.
freaking stud. Shout out to Cameron.
Shout out to Cameron.
We love you, brother.
Yeah.
You know, you hear this and it sounds wonderful, and people might be going, well, geez, how did she blow up her life then with
Absolutely.
this beautiful foundation? But again, you know, anyone can struggle. We all struggle. And, you know, it doesn't matter kind of what your upbringing is. We can all get caught up in some things that we shouldn't be getting caught up in. And sometimes it takes over our lives, and you're lucky to be alive, honestly, because of that. So, that's an interesting question. You know, you did all these things, you had all this support.
I did all the things.
So what kind of, I mean, I probably started early on, obviously, and I think I've known that, but tell us a little bit about that. So
here's the thing. I also grew up, I learned early that something that made me feel good was helping other people.
Okay.
I self-assigned the role in my family. I'm second oldest. And so I was the fire putter outer. I was the one, if someone was crying, I was consoling. I was the one trying to prevent fighting and make life easier for my mom. You know, she'd go to the store and I'd clean, and I had this trait that I'm so blessed that I just was born with this heart to love.
Yeah.
A huge giant heart to love. But because of that trait of mine, like, it later became very much a people pleasing thing.
Okay.
But what happened is I always did everything right too, because I didn't want to disappoint anybody. So I didn't know how to, I never really got in trouble because I just never did anything wrong. So, I got to a place in my life where I thought if I followed all the church, if I did everything I was supposed to do, I got married and we went through the temple, and like I graduated from high school and I graduated from college, and like I did all these things, and I thought that my life was going to turn out this certain way.
Yeah.
And I got married, and me and my husband were so in love. And we had 7 years of like pure bliss. We were so happy. And then because he got an injury playing softball, he got addicted to opiates. And this part of my story, I think, really sets me apart from a lot of people, because I was the wife of an addict for 10 years.
Okay.
He struggled with addiction, and I was the one at home cheering for him, hoping, and and that's what began like my self-destruction, was because I got a broken heart.
Yeah.
And the life that I wanted came crashing down before me.
Yeah.
I was at the height of my life. We just had our first baby. We just got our first home. We started a business.
Yeah.
Like everything that all of my dreams were coming true.
Yeah.
And then I find out that the man that I love the most is addicted to pain medication. And I didn't know about addiction at all. The only thing that I could relate addiction to would be, I know I love Pepsi, and if I didn't have a Pepsi, I'd get a headache. Like, I knew nothing about addiction.
Yeah.
So it was scary. Sure. And I didn't dare tell anybody because I didn't want anyone to judge him. And I also had this hope. Like, I knew he was going to get through it, and I didn't want anyone to judge him or hold it against him when we overcame it, you know. So I kept it to myself.
And that's what people pleasers do, right?
Right.
And also the perfectionism in you, like, I got to be perfect. I want to make a mistake.
Yeah, for sure.
So what you do is all this pain and all this fear and worry, you're just suppressing.
I kept it to myself, and also I tried to fix him. I made it my mission to heal him and make him better. Okay. And I literally based my value on making other people happy. Like, I was happy when everyone around me was happy. So when I stopped being the thing that made my husband happy, it completely destroyed me inside. Like, why am I not good enough? Like, why can't I make him happy? And it was this heartbreak that like I can't explain. And it was every day when he was choosing the drug over me. And every day when I was giving him my trust and I was giving him all my hope, and he just couldn't do it, you know? And the best way I can describe it is watching someone that you love drowning in knee-deep water. Mm-hmm. And they're drowning and you're standing there unable to go help that, like pull them out, but you're like, just stand up. Like, please just stand up. Like, you don't have to die from this. Like, you're stronger than this. You're better than this. Like, just stand up. And being the addict, after I felt it myself, being in the water feels like you're in the middle of the ocean with no land in sight.
Sure, yeah.
And you're tired. Mm-hmm. And you don't dare ask for help. And it's the most hopeless feeling in the world. And like, I'm so grateful. I see it from both angles now, you know, but that pain.
But when you're in it.
When you're in it, yeah. And I'm saying like, I've been the addict, I've been the wife, and I would choose the addict any day. I would choose being the drug addict over being the loved one that is watching someone suffer. It is the most painful experience of my life. Like, so painful.
Boy, that is a very profound thing you just said. Like, very, I guess, eye-opening. That you'd rather be the addict than the person. What I'm hearing is than the person who is pretending everything's okay, and I'm going to be the one that fixes you, and I'm going to be perfect, and I'm going to, you know, do all these things, but I'm going to suppress everything. And the pressure and the stress and all of that had to have been exhausting.
It was so exhausting, and it was every day. It was every single day. My heart just broke a little more and a little more, and I stayed too long. Like, I stayed in, like, I kept giving him hope, but I stayed to the point where it changed who I was. And the moment that it started to change me and my belief system, and it was like I was accepting a little bit at a time. Like, I remember the first conversations we had about pills was like so much shame and secrecy. And fast forward 6 years, and we were talking about it like the grocery store. Like, it just became a part of my life. It just was what it was. And it changed my values. I changed my value system. I changed everything trying to accommodate this, because I was holding on to this relationship that I didn't want to lose. And I was holding on to that 7 years when our marriage was so good and we had trust and we had everything that we wanted. Yeah. And I was just hoping it would go back to that. And it was the most devastating experience of my life, just being in, having no control over what happened. Like, he was the one in control. Yeah. He was my partner. Like, he could die tomorrow, or, you know, like, I didn't know what was going to happen. And it left me in this state of limbo. And I stayed for 10 years. Wow. And I tried everything. Toward the end of that relationship with him, I actually started doing pills with him. Because I wanted.
That's where it started.
It's
just like, you know,
like,
you finally gave in.
I wanted connection with him again, and he was lying to me, and he had like this separate life I wasn't a part of, and I just was like, I wanted him back, and so I started doing that with him, and that just made everything 5 million times worse. Yeah,
wow. You know, I think a lot of people listening right now can relate with that feeling. You know, a lot of women listen to this podcast who may be in a similar situation or might even be feeling exactly what you're feeling. Like, I'm trying to keep everything together. I'm feeling the pressure of being perfect. I'm feeling the pressure of putting on a face to everybody that everything's fine. And I think what we need to learn as a community and individually is that that's why we need to talk to people. That's why we need to open up and be vulnerable. And, you know, when I first met you, Dee, you know, it was pretty interesting because a lot of times when people come in here, initially they don't want to talk about anything. They fight it. They kick and scream. You were one who, like, right out the gate, like, and meaning what I'm saying is you were very vulnerable right off the bat when you got here. I just
wanted to be heard.
Yes.
Like, I had been keeping secrets from everyone that I love for so long, and I just wanted someone to hear me. And I came here, and there was people that understood me. There's people that could relate to my situation, and I felt okay not being okay here. I felt okay being seen for like the brokenness that I was, and there was no shame in it, and that felt completely relieving.
Yeah, wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. And again, that opened up the door to you literally blowing up your life.
Yeah,
so talk about that for a minute, like what this led to.
Yeah, so by the time I got out of that relationship, you know, I ended up having to go move back home with my mom. My mom still lives in the house that she raised me in, and I was living in the bedroom that I grew up in. And I was like,
but that was weird.
It was not, not in my plans, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
I was supposed to, me and my ex-husband, we were supposed to like grow old together and go golfing, and we had all these big plans, you know, and here I am back at my mom's house, like, and I'm in such a deep depression at this point. Like, I'm a happy person. Like, I always am just like, let's go. Like, I'm a go-getter. I'm a mover. I'm a partier. Like, I just like to have fun and do stuff. And by the time I left that relationship, all I wanted to do was sleep. I was on antidepressant medication. I was on anti-anxiety medication. My life had got to this place where I hated it. I hated me. I hated everything. And the idea that like sleeping, that was like the way that I coped with life. Like, I just wanted to check out. And I remembered like I had a job and I'd come home and I just wanted to go to sleep. And I had kids. Kids that were wanting me, and I wanted to sleep.
Wow. I want to point out too, you know, when someone's really depressed, sleep is like an escape, actually.
It is.
Right? It's like, that's why you want, like, I just want to go to sleep, be unconscious for a minute, so I don't have to think and feel what I'm going through.
I would take my anti-anxiety medications and they would knock me out, and I looked forward to that. Yeah. That's what I looked forward to. And that depression mixed with the loneliness I was feeling and the loss of losing, like, we ended up losing our business and our house and everything that we had. And I was just so sad, like so sad. And I'm back at my mom's in this bedroom that I love to visit, but I never wanted to live in again. And I'm there with my own kids. And like, I was just so heartbroken and so disappointed in myself and in my life and where I'd ended up, you know? Yeah. And so wanting just to feel good enough. I put a lot of my value in my husband, and when I didn't feel good enough for him, I didn't feel good enough for anything. And so I was desperately searching like for this feeling of enough. And at the time I was managing a low-income apartment housing complex, and I got this job, and I got an on-site, so I was an on-site manager, so I got an apartment there, which was great because I got to move out of my mom's house with my kids, and I had some income. But while I was living there, I met a lot of new friends that were living, all of my tenants that were living in that complex at the time, who, to them, I was great. To them, like, I was the manager, and I had the nicest car. And even though my life to my family, I was like the failure in my view, right? Yeah, right? I was the failure in my family. And I go out there with all these people who think that I am a goddess. Like, they all loved me, and they all thought I was great, and they all accepted me. And my people pleasing was like, oh, I can just fix all these people's problems and I don't have to look at me, right? And it really was like the perfect poison for me, because I got acceptance from people who didn't have the same standards that I had. And I was so desperate for connection and love from someone that I didn't feel judged by, that I fell into that trap so quick.
It's like a perfect storm.
A perfect storm.
Right? Yeah.
And somehow, some way, I just thought it was a good idea to try smoking some meth with one of my tenants one time. And it fixed me for a minute. The first time I went from like this depressive state to hitting that meth pipe, and feeling better. I was like, let's go.
Like euphoric.
Like, I was like, I got my energy back. And I remember my boss and my mom were like, oh, you're doing so good out there. Like, they thought that I was fixed for a minute, because I got it took me out of that depression. It gave me some energy. It made me feel like I was all right. It gave me this false sense of security. And I mean, it worked for me for a minute.
Yeah, I've heard it described once, and maybe you can relate with this, obviously, where, hitting a meth pipe, like you meant, like the way you worded it, it's like getting on a rocket. It shoots you up into the air, and you're just cruising. You're feeling this adrenaline, and then all of a sudden the engine stops, and you're out in the air, and you got no foundation, and you just fall and come crashing back down. And that's the lie. Mm-hmm. The lie and the deception of meth or any other drug, honestly. But absolutely. But for me, it was like, it fixed me, right? Yeah. So why would I want the engine to stop? I don't. I just want to stay high, keep it going. Right? Just keep it going, because it made me feel better. It made my life tolerable. It made me feel like I was okay. Even though I knew in my brain, like I wasn't, it lied to me. It lied to me. Yeah. Wow.
It lied to me.
But again, like you said, you were so, it's like you were so depressed in such a dark state that all of a sudden this felt like a little bit of a light.
Yeah, it did.
Let's be honest. Like,
it did.
It's like, ooh, okay. Now this is what I can do to kind of pull me out of this.
Yeah.
So you started doing that for a while, and
I was doing that for a while and got myself into a worse situation. Because of the people I was around, I ended up getting into a relationship with a gang member who paroled to his mother's apartment, who lived by me. And I got in deep quick. I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. And I didn't even do it on purpose. It was like, so I talked earlier about like this big, huge heart I have and my ability to love everyone. Yeah. I see this gang member show up and he's angry and I can see the good in this kid.
Yeah.
Like there's some good in him.
Sure.
And he's never been around anyone that's ever seen good in him before. And so he immediately was drawn to me. And I was just like, oh, you're okay. Like, look, you're a good person, you know? And I was just like, we got this friendship and he would cook me and my kids food and all this stuff. And long story short, he gets in a fight with his mom, comes over and he's like, can I stay at your apartment for a few days? Because and his mom was the only person he knew around. Yeah. And so he comes in my apartment and next thing I know, my windows are boarded up. My kids are living with my mom, my dad took my car. I don't have a job. My life went from like, it was crazy.
Literally lost everything
in a very short time.
Yeah.
And experienced a lot of abuse. I'd never been around someone who wasn't mentally well. He suffered a lot of mental issues, psychosis, multiple personality disorder, nothing I'd ever dealt with in my entire life. Yeah. I'd always been around healthy people. Yeah. And so he kind of took advantage of my naiveness. He scared me to a point where I didn't think I would ever get out of that relationship alive. And if I did, I would be tormented by his gang or him for the rest of my life. So I felt extremely stuck. And there was a lot of abuse. There was a lot of manipulation. He threatened to kill me a lot. He tried killing me a few times. I have some scars.
Wow.
And I got to this place where I just knew that like I wasn't going to make it out alive and I was okay with that. Like, and I knew my kids were okay. My mom had my kids. And it's the weirdest feeling, just like being okay dying. I'd never experienced that before in my life, but all of a sudden I was just like, I didn't want to have to keep existing as his girlfriend. So dying felt like the way better option. And it was the weirdest.
That's heavy.
It was like the weirdest, like, calm feeling I got about it, though, because then I was like, you know what? Then my kids, like, all I'm doing is hurting my kids. The suffering stops. The suffering stops, right? I don't have to deal with him. I don't have to deal with my, like, hurting my family anymore. And this whole time, because I was scared of, like, his gang retaliation and all of this, I was lying to my family. I was trying to tell them I was okay. I was trying to make them believe I wanted to be there. I was trying to make them, because I didn't want them to try and intervene. I was afraid they would get hurt. I was afraid someone would get hurt. And it was my fault. And if anyone was going to get hurt, it was going to be me. And I was okay with that. But I didn't want them. So I'm lying to my parents, like, no, Mom, I'm good. Like, trying to make it all okay so that no one gets hurt, you know? And it was just so different than the life I was used to living. The safety and security I had my entire life. And now I'm living with this guy that might kill me any day. Jeez. It was crazy.
That is crazy.
It was pure craziness. Like, I can't even explain to you. And like, but the entire time, like, I was still me. Like, I was still looking for the good. I was still making the best of whatever situations came up. I was still trying to smile and have fun. And it's not like I curled up in a ball and I was just. Well,
going back to the old behaviors that you were doing in your first marriage.
Yeah.
You went right back to that again.
Oh yeah,
everything's
that's
fine.
True. Everything's fine. I'm gonna fix. Yeah, I'm gonna fix you. We're gonna be fine. You know, and but knowing in my heart,
you were suffering,
that I was doomed. Like, I literally just knew it, and luckily, and I say luckily because people think it's crazy, but luckily I ended up in jail. Luckily, I caught some serious charges.
Yeah.
And him and I both ended up in jail.
We hear that a lot, where jail was like the savior at the time.
Yeah.
It finally stopped everything.
Well, yeah, for sure. And for me, it created space with this guy. For me, I knew he was going back to prison. So,
wow.
You know,
Jeez.
And I was so happy to be in jail, and I actually loved it in there. So I was just like happy to be able to
that says
rest
a
in
lot
peace.
of how bad you were suffering, because for you to say, man, I was so glad to be in jail and I had a great time.
Yeah.
You know, it was good for me.
It was.
It's a mirror of the suffering you were going through.
Oh yeah. It was the amount of relief I felt when I got those. I mean, my mom, like, there was some devastation involved, and my mom was so devastated. But I got those handcuffs on, and I got to sit in the back of that car that he wasn't in, and I was like, let's go.
Yeah, take me away,
take me away. Please take me away. And the crazy part is like,
I love it.
I did speak to him. When I got out of jail, he called me from prison, the very last time I spoke to him. And he's like, it's probably a good thing we got arrested. And I was like, why? And he's like, because I had plans. I don't think we would have survived the next 24 hours. Jeez. And I believe him. Like, I really do believe him.
Yeah. Wow. What a tender mercy, right? That you got arrested.
Yeah, for sure.
I've heard that a lot with a lot of clients that I've dealt with, and even people on my show have said the same thing. So. Yeah.
And I got arrested by a pretty good friend of mine from high school.
Yeah.
He got to arrest me and drive me to jail in his truck.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you go to jail. Is this the wake up call? Going, okay, I'm at rock bottom. Is this the wake up call to go, I've got to figure out how do I change this pattern I'm in?
You know, it really was the rock bottom, and it really was like a wake up call for me. But here's the part: the charges that I received. It was during COVID.
Okay.
I had 3 felony charges. I thought I was going to prison. And so from the time I got my charges until my court case actually, and like I got sentenced on my court case stuff, it was 3 years. And not because I knew it was going to be 3 years, because it got pushed out. And I literally was on court every month for 3 years, like just waiting for this sentencing, and I ended up going to trial, and all of these things happened. But it was a 3-year span from the time I got my charges until I got sentenced on my charges. And in those 3 years, what am I supposed to do with my life? I want my kids, but I might be going to prison for a couple years.
Yeah.
I don't want them too close. I would love to get a job and move on with my life, but I might be going to prison. I don't want a job. It's like this push and pull game with me.
Yeah.
So for 3 years, I was in this state of limbo, not knowing.
I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the Beliefcast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swap and Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode.
Like, if I was going to prison, or I really did know I was going to go away. I just didn't know how long. And so it was like, what do you do with your life in that period? And had I known it was going to take 3 years, then maybe I could have done something, but I never knew. It was like a month by month thing.
Sure.
And so during that time, the idea of like healing and going back to my old self and then trying to go to prison, that girl, like that healthy, like I wasn't trying to fix myself. I knew the state of mind. If I had to go serve time in prison, like I had to be in like a certain mindset.
Sure.
And so I just stayed hanging out with all the people that go to prison all the time that I could talk to about prison and that crowd, and doing what that crowd does for 3 years, because I just couldn't see there was no point to try and move on until I knew what my future held. Like and mostly for my kids too. It was like, I can't very well like bring them home and let's have a happy family and get settled and then me go away again, you know? And so, so I just,
that's crazy.
I just stayed just screwing off until finally I went to trial, and I did get found guilty at my trial, which was devastating. But the judge at my sentencing, he said, I don't get to decide your verdict, but I get to decide your punishment. And I'd been on court every month for 3 years, and every single time, whatever the prosecuting attorney recommended for punishment, that's what the judge sentenced. At my sentencing, the prosecuting attorney recommended 2 years in prison. And my heart just dropped because I was like, oh, I knew it, you know?
Yeah.
The judge gave me 10 days. 10 days in jail.
Really?
10 days in jail. But because I think he could see who I was.
He could see something in you.
He saw something in me.
Yes.
Because otherwise, I seen it for 3 years I seen it. And then all of a sudden he's like, 10 days. And I was like, no way.
2 years, 10 days. Yeah. Which one do you want?
I know. And it's like, had I known 3 years prior that like I was only going to have to serve 10 days in jail, I could have done something with my life. Right. But I didn't. So I did.
Just stayed in limbo thinking I'm going to prison anyways.
Exactly.
So why try to do
anything right?
Good or right? Or...
I need to hang out with these other people who are going to prison so I fit in, right? And keep the prison mentality going.
Yeah.
And so here's the part. So I served my 10 days of jail. I got all of my days of jail served in like May of 2023. And that was when I finally was like, oh, I'm getting my life back together now, because now I know I've got a future. Yeah. That was May. I spent the summer, I was on probation. I did some classes. I was trying, that's when I actually started trying to get my life back together.
Okay.
I checked myself in here in September. I realized in that short amount of time that like I had gotten some really bad habits and addictions and bad mindset, and I had a ton of trauma, like more than I could manage on my own. Yeah. And so I quickly admitted that. I quickly was like, I mean, it took me just one summer of trying to get my stuff straight before I realized like I need help. I need help. And so I asked my probation officer if I could do inpatient treatment, and he said, yeah, I'll write you a letter. That's not a common request from people.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure.
Like,
I'll write you a letter. And so I found Wasatch through Cameron, his cousin, Matt. I have a lot of love for Matt.
Yeah.
He came through this program. I didn't even know it. He'd went to treatment. I would do drugs with him occasionally. I decided to go to treatment, and I was like calling all these different places and looking for somewhere to go. And I had just talked to a place that gave my bed away. It was on a Sunday, and I was in tears. And I get a knock at my door, and it was Matt, and he was looking for Cameron, obviously wanting to get high. And he noticed I was crying, and he's like, Dee, what's wrong? And he came in, and I told him all of my worries, and he's like, you need to go to Wasatch. He's like, I just left there. Come to find out, he just AMA'd from Wasatch outpatient.
And he's like, go there.
He's like, you need to go to Wasatch. And he gave me Decker's phone number. He got me in line with the insurance guy that I needed.
Yeah.
So it was like, it took about a month before I could actually come for my insurance to get effective and all of the things. But Matt checked on me every week. Like, are you good? He answered all my questions, like really was rooting for me, just talking this place up, you know?
Yeah.
And so I checked myself in here on September 5th of 2023.
Yep.
And
that's when I got to meet you.
That's when I met Todd.
Yeah. Well, wow. I mean, thank you for sharing what you have so far. And I know there's so much to your story, but thank you for being vulnerable and sharing what you have so far, and so grateful that you're here. I mean, sitting in front of me. I mean, seriously, it's amazing. You know, we had some amazing, I was thinking about, you this last week about, what comes to my memory about our sessions, if you will.
Yeah.
And, nothing too personal, but other than you, again, you're always vulnerable. You were like, willing to do anything. You wanted to work hard. You did everything I've ever asked. And one of the things that you and I worked on, and there's a lot of things we worked on, but one of the ones I think that stood out the most to me, and I'm curious, I think it might be you as well, is when we worked on who are you?
Yeah.
Like, who are you really, right? And when I ask that question to you or anyone, they can't answer it. I have no clue who I am, right? And one of the most accurate definitions of depression is pretending to be someone I'm not. And this, I would look at you, Dee, and honestly, when I first met you, I already knew you're pretending here. You're all this pretending led to you losing everything, going to jail, losing everything in your life, right? But I knew, like, I knew there was good there. I saw greatness when I saw you. And I knew my job was to help you see it. That was my job. Right. It wasn't nothing other than that. Yeah. I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to get you to actually take a look and go, oh, I get it, Mm-hmm. And so I think one of the things that really stood out was just that exercise we did on who are you? What do you think?
Can I tell you?
Please.
Okay. This was my life-changing moment.
Okay.
I came in Todd's office and I sat down on this couch, broken, full of self-hate.
Yeah.
Full of pain. And Todd asked me, what's your value? On a scale of 0 to 100, what's your value? And I remember saying, I don't remember the exact number, but it was in the low 20s.
Yeah, I do.
And you were like, why? And I just start spewing like, well, because I did this and this and this and this, like spewing all these things that in my opinion made me not worthy.
Yeah,
and
right.
It changed my value.
Yeah.
And then Todd says, what's the value of your daughter on a scale of 0 to 100? And without missing a beat, I was like, 100, of course. And he's like, why? And I was like, because she's perfect. She's my daughter and I love her. And there's nothing she could ever do that would change her value. And Todd just looked at me like, really? There's nothing that she could ever do that would change her value. Isn't that interesting? But your value changed based off some actions that you did. That's interesting. And I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, that's so true, right? Yeah. And then Todd says, do you believe in God? And I was like, yes, I do. And coming into Wasatch, my relationship with God was non-existent. The God that I believed in at that time was mad at me.
Yeah.
He was disappointed in me. He didn't want to hear from me. He was very much like, what are you doing, Dee?
Yeah.
Like, it was like a visit. The thought of talking to God was like going to the principal's office in my brain, right?
Yeah.
Like I am in trouble.
A lot of people think that. Yeah.
And so Todd asked me if I believed in God, and I told him I did. He asked me if I believed that God forgives you for your sins. And I said, yes, I do. And he said, then I want to challenge you to do something. So you challenged me to go back to house 1, to get on my knees and say a prayer and ask Heavenly Father for forgiveness.
Yeah, I remember
and
this.
that's not news to me. Like, I grew up believing in
Sure.
that. But what you said next blew my mind. Todd says, and in the same prayer, I want you to thank him for forgiving you because he just did. And I was like, what? Like, and then I remember you saying, what would forgiveness look like? If Heavenly Father were giving you forgiveness, what would that look like? Would he bring you down a present and hand it to you? And it really made me thinking like, he's right. Like, what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is a feeling. Forgiveness is an idea, a belief that I accept to be true, right? Yeah. And so then you said, then stand up and act like you're forgiven. That was the most mind-blowing conversation I'd ever had in my life because I hated myself.
Yeah.
I hated myself. And I didn't think that Heavenly Father or God wanted to hear from me at all, let alone forgive me. But like you planted that seed in me and you were like, not only can you ask him, but you can thank him for it. Like he's going to do it right away. Yeah. And then you get to accept it and start walking tall and you're forgiven. So start acting forgiven. Like that was so huge for me. Wow. Like it changed my life.
You're making me cry right now.
It changed my life. When I bear my testimony, I tell everyone that story.
Do you?
I do because I grew up with a dad who taught me those principles. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a new principle to me. I believed in forgiveness. My father very much taught me that, but it was the way that you said it and just the words you used, and it just changed my life. And I am forever grateful for that conversation because once I felt forgiven and started acting forgiven, I could forgive myself. Ooh. I could love myself. I could start rebuilding a life, right?
Jeez, I got chills right now. Wow.
If you don't love yourself, then you don't care what your life looks like, right?
Yeah, you don't
You're
care.
not going to build a big, beautiful life if you don't love yourself. And so I started this foundation of self-love that day. And I remember the next day I walked through the hall and you hollered at me through the hall and you were like, Dee, and you're like, I felt you walk by. Like, I remember you telling me that.
Yes, I do remember
I
that.
felt you walk by. And I was like, what? And like, it just made me feel so good because I felt like in that prayer, I felt this weight come off of my shoulders, that it was like this unbelievable heavy weight I'd been carrying for so long. And all of a sudden I felt it lift from me. And then you noticed it in me, like in my countenance, you noticed it just by looking at me. Like, and that's crazy. Not only did I notice it by
looking, I felt it. You know, energy introduces itself the moment you walk into a room.
Yeah.
And your energy was like, whoa, what was that?
I know.
And it was this light. It was this love. Yeah. It was this energy. And I was just like, there it is. See, that's what I saw all along. And now she sees it. And therefore you were admitting that frequency and energy out to all of us.
Yes.
And man, you lit up that whole hallway, man. It was like, dang.
And I still felt it. That next morning, I just woke up lighter. I just woke up like, I got this. Like, I can do this, you know? It was like in that metaphor I used earlier, like being out in the middle of the ocean, all of a sudden Wasatch Todd shows up with this life raft and he just throws it to me and I climb on a boat. That's what it felt like to me. Like, so like, oh, yeah, finally.
Yeah, that was, thank you for sharing that. And I do remember all of that. It was such a profound thing in my life too. I mean, again, I always say this, I'm no different than you, Dee, or any other client that sits on that couch. I'm just a little further down the road of not putting poison in my body.
Right.
We're the same.
Yeah.
I still have my struggles. I still have my flaws. I still get mad. I still do dumb things, Yeah. But, again, I think that's why I'm grateful that I have that perspective, that someone once taught that to me.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
For sure.
And I just sit there and go, holy cow, there it is. And I say this a lot, and you know this too, Dee, because we work together now.
Yeah.
By the way, she works at Wasatch Recovery,
cool. Yeah.
which is cool, and she's
Let's
helping
go.
people. And, and she's a powerhouse. And again, she still brings that same energy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's just mind-blowing how simple recovery is.
Right.
See, the world looks through recovery in a very small lens, and it's cloudy. You got a disease, you're powerless, you're broken, you're damaged, you're once an addict, always an addict, and all this stuff. No wonder people stay stuck, because that's the current narrative, and that's the current. Why wouldn't you? I mean, if that's what I've got, oh my goodness. But the truth is, you don't have a disease. The truth is, you are powerful, not powerless. The truth is, relapse isn't part of recovery. The truth is that you really are. Your value, despite what you've done, but despite what you've been through, you're at 100. It never fluctuates, ever. And clarity of identity is the most powerful and potent antidepressant on the planet.
For sure.
Period.
Yeah.
And when you discovered that, and I watched it before my very eyes, again, it was just, that's where, like, there's no turning back. This girl's got this. And again, you still have your challenges, Dee, and you still get hit with this and hit with that. Like, all these consequences are still coming sometimes, even though you've changed your life, right? Those damn consequences.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, I still watch you handle them with integrity and honesty. And at times you cry because you're vulnerable about it, but you're real about it. You share it. You talk to people. You ask for help.
Yeah.
It's just cool just how far you have come from that hell you found yourself in when you were trying to be this perfect person.
Yeah.
The everything for
everything
everyone.
to everyone person. Yeah.
So,
sure.
man.
And
I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, that was powerful.
I love it so much. And coming here, I learned that I matter.
Yeah.
Like, I very much got lost in all the roles I played in life, a daughter, a wife, a mother. I didn't know who I was. I tell the first time I went to Smith's, when I was in House 1, we went to Smith's shopping, and I broke down into tears at the grocery store. I'd never bought ice cream just for me. I didn't even know what kind of, like, I always bought ice cream based on, like, what everyone else wants to eat. I'd never, like, bought myself a thing of ice cream before. Like,
jeez.
and so I got some space and some time to, like, figure out who I was. Like, learn who I was and what I need, and heal, like, the healing process here, and finding some self-love and learning about boundaries and all of the things that, like, we learn here.
Yeah. Well, and I want to point out, and, because I get this question a lot, like, what's the difference between someone like Dee, who's really successful in treatment, versus maybe someone who wasn't? And again, there's a lot of different factors. And again, we all have our struggles. This is no judgment whatsoever, but I see this a lot. It's like, you worked hard and you followed the rules. Yeah. Like, that might sound so simple, like that's the difference. And truly it is. Like, it wasn't easy, and you weren't perfect. No. You broke rules in the beginning and things like that. But at the end of the day, you got to this place where that work and your integrity around the rules started to show up.
For sure.
And it was like, dang. And like I said, when you're pretending to be someone you're not, it leaves you in despair.
For sure.
But when you're in line with you, which that's what started to happen.
For sure. And right? I remember, like, when I was married and my husband was in addiction, I remember when I felt like when I gave up and I felt myself go out of alignment. I remember it as clear as day. And that should have been the day that I made a different choice. But I'm so grateful I didn't, because I was so like, because I grew up in such a great environment, like I was so naive to the world, and I have a heart where I can love everyone, and I would watch people go through hard things and I would be there for them. But now I can sit with someone who's going through something hard and have empathy on a whole other level, because I too have been through hard things and I made it through the other side. And it's given me this level of compassion that I get to share with other people. And all I want to do with my life is love everyone. And I just want to like help people. And my experiences in life give me the knowledge that allows me to help people in a way that the old me, pre-trauma, we'll say, pre-trauma me never could have. You know?
So what I kind of hear you saying then is maybe it happened for you.
Yeah, life happens for you, not to you. Todd taught me that.
Yeah.
I say it all the time.
I know. And it's true. It's hard to see that though when you're going through it and you're in the thick of it. But I knew eventually you were going to get there. Yeah. Eventually you're going to go look back and connect the dots and go, oh my goodness, that led to this, that led to that. And here you are. And I know you see it that way. And again, you really do a great job here at Wasatch.
Thank you.
We love having you here. The clients love you. You really do bring a very added value to this place.
Thank you.
We're a better place to have you here. And I really mean that. And I hear your name come up all the time with the clients like, oh my gosh, she said one thing to me and it changed my attitude, or she sat down with me and listened to me, or she actually called me out and I needed to be called out, you know, those kind of things. So I have another question for you. And I ask this all the time, and it's my favorite question to ask my guests. If there is someone right now listening to this podcast, listening to you, Dee, who's struggling and they're in a dark place, what would you tell that person right now who's listening and tuning in?
Don't give up. You're worth it. There's hope. There's help. It is not easy, but you deserve it. There's people that love you. Find someone you can talk to. Don't go through this alone. There's people out there that can relate to you. Find someone you can be honest and vulnerable with to get you through this time. God loves you. You have a purpose on this earth. God put you here to be happy. He really did. He didn't put you here to suffer. He put you here so you could learn how to find joy. And he also put you here to learn. And so these hard times we're going through are the lessons. This is where the growth happens. The hard times are to learn from so that we become a better person. Help other people if you're getting stuck inside yourself. If you're stuck in your head and you're stuck, go help someone else. That's the best way you can get out of your head, is to help another person. Keep trying. That's all. Like, remember who you are. Remember who you are. You have value despite the actions you've done or the mistakes you've made. You have value. Make the hard changes. If you're in a place of misery in your life, get out of that relationship. Move, change jobs, ask for help, go to treatment, do whatever it takes. Because you need joy in your life. So make the hard changes that are preventing you from having happiness in your life. And whatever that looks like, it's worth it. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Don't be ashamed. Don't shame yourself. Everyone makes mistakes, and I believe our mistakes are actually a gift from God so that we can learn and we can grow. And from every mistake, there's a lesson. And if you change your perspective on that and you just look at life as a test or what it actually is meant to be, we're just here to learn. Of course, you have to go through the hard things in order to learn. Just don't give up. Just keep going.
Yeah.
It will get better. Good times end and bad times end.
Yeah. Nice.
There's hope for sure. And if no one else loves you, I love you. You can hit me up on social media. I love everybody. Just hit me up.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's well said. And those are powerful words. And I appreciate your love behind those words. And you really are that person. How do people reach out to you if they want to ask you a question or if they want to follow you and just learn more about what you do and they might have a question for you? What would be the best way for them to do that?
My email is deannahunsaker@gmail.com, spelled DeAnahunsaker@gmail. Or you can look me up on Facebook. It's Dee Noyes on Facebook.
Noyes.
Noyes, yeah. Maybe you can post a link or something.
Oh yeah, no, I'll put the links in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure.
I got you covered.
Good. Yeah.
I got you covered.
Yeah, for sure. But I do like, I love when I'm speaking to someone who maybe is like, I feel like it's so cool when I can relate to someone who loves an addict and someone who is an addict at the same time, because I can express some compassion for your family members to the addict, and I can express some compassion for the addict to the family members. Like, kind of, I know where both of their heads are at. It's really cool, I think.
Yeah.
And I really love talking to family members, and I really love talking to addicts. I've definitely found my passion here, and I love it so much. And I'm so grateful that I get to rub shoulders with Todd Sylvester. That's like the best part of my job. But
you're awesome.
I love it.
You're awesome. So, well, that was an amazing story. Amazing things that you had gone through and overcome, and just a lot of people in your life obviously were like answers, little tender mercies, if you will, that led you down this path. And I always hear this a lot when people reach out. Their first contact's Decker or Christian, and those two are the greatest guys in the world. And I don't know. It's just I'm grateful. I'm a better person for knowing you and to be able to go through that process with you. I'm, like I said, we're the same. We're all going through this together. We need each other. For sure. So thank you for sharing today. It was wonderful. You did a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
It's so good.
Thank you so much.
I think the world of you. So keep up the good work, and we all love you.
Thanks for having me.
You betcha.
Okay.
There you go, folks. I told you were in for a good one today. She is amazing. Please look her up. If you have a question for her, send her an email and shoot her a question. She'll help you out. If you have a loved one who's struggling or suffering, she'll also help you there as well. If you have a family member and you're not sure how to talk to them and break the ice, they're struggling, but you don't know what to say to them, send them a link to this episode, have them listen to it, and then it allows you to follow up. Hey, what did you think of Dee's story? And then all of a sudden you got this place to start talking. And that's when you go, are you struggling? And open up. And pretty soon you'll be surprised how that connection will get there. And who knows, maybe you'll lead them to treatment or lead them to at least getting the help that they need. So I love you guys. Thanks to my sponsors. I wouldn't be here without you. Love you. Until next time, everyone, take care.